Moving to the race for the White House, we've been highlighting a number of key races for the Hoosier state tonight: Trump, Pence, and Biden-Harris. We focus on the presidential campaigns and how they view Indiana's role in the election and the key issues they believe are affecting Hoosiers. Here's WRTV's Mark Mullins.
It has been a polarizing debate for voters in this country. 4 more years for Republican Donald Trump.
We don't need somebody to come in and say, let's shut it down.
Or a different direction with a Democrat in the White House, Joe Biden.
You can't fix the economy until you fix the COVID crisis.
As Joe always says, this election is not just an election. It's a battle for the soul of our nation.
Where does Indiana fit into this race for the presidency? Typically a red state with patches of blue.
Indiana is Hoosier country, and they're going to be the Hoosier red come November.
We turn to each campaign, questioning how much attention is paid to the Hoosier state vying for our 11 electoral votes.
Well, Joe obviously feels that it's incredibly important to, get as many votes out of Indiana as humanly possible.
David Ziemba is the state coordinator for the Biden campaign.
Let's just say that I'm confident that we're going to do a lot better than most people think we're going to do. We've got a lot of internal polling back that suggests that we're ahead in a lot of districts and a lot of places that normally we wouldn't see that.
Indiana typically votes red.
Every state is important. To get to 270, you've got to ensure you have every state that you possibly can get.
Chris Walker with the Trump Victory campaign acknowledges a key role Indiana plays, given this place is the home of the vice president, former Governor Mike Pence.
We feel good about Indiana, but we're going to make sure with our ground game, with the Indiana Republican Party, with all of our partners, with Vice President Pence leading the way, we're confident about Indiana, but we're never going to be overconfident. We don't take anything for granted.
When we're talking about coronavirus and Indiana's response to it.
In a state that has seen more than 3,500 deaths related to COVID-19 and more than 130,000 positive cases up to this point, the handling of the coronavirus and a plan moving forward is a key issue for Hoosiers. The Trump campaign maintains the president is handling the pandemic appropriately with a more hands-off approach.
It's the beauty of federalism in a lot of ways. States can determine for themselves what the best outcome is. We've seen in states like Indiana a rebound that states like your neighboring states of Wisconsin and other states have not seen. That is a benefit compared to what we would know from Vice President Biden, who would have a national top-down mandate, which just doesn't make sense. What's happening in New York has no impact in Gary, Indiana.
Democrats behind the Joe Biden ticket say they're hearing about the issues important to Hoosier voters, and many they've polled point to the lack of leadership surrounding the spread of coronavirus.
On the presidential side and the nation side, we're hearing a lot of the fact that, the president laid down on the job and didn't do what he was supposed to do. I mean, we've got 200,000 dead Americans at his feet. That's a huge issue.
And that includes the thousands of Hoosiers who have died. The Biden campaign points out the president undercut the pandemic preparedness plan implemented during the Obama administration.
The president had a playbook. It was long, it was detailed, and he not only didn't look at it, he threw it in the trash. And that's, again, it's failed leadership at the top.
Trump's campaign says the top priority is getting people back to work.
Obviously, the number one issue is jobs in the economy, getting our economy back up and running after the Chinese coronavirus came in and just uprooted so many people's lives and livelihoods.
Biden's campaign is focusing on educating voters about polling locations, early voting options, and presenting one question.
So what we see again over and over again is the question, are you better than you were 4 years ago? And I don't think any American in this country can say right now that they are.
Both campaigns admit each of their respective candidates will most likely spend more time trying to reach voters in other key battleground states, with no special events planned here. Mark Mullins, WRTV.
You can get yourself ready for the November 3rd election by visiting WRTV.com. There we have the important deadlines you need to keep in mind, and we take an in-depth look at many of the candidates who will appear on your ballot. Just go to WRTV.com/election2020.